Mid-Atlantic desperately needs volunteers in the Baltimore region. Learn more about upcoming trainings and sign up by visiting midatlantic.wish.org.
Sergeant Alberto Velasco faced an uncertain future after serving his country.
At the age of 27, I was involved in a motor vehicle accident. I have 2 kids and a wife to support, where to turn. I was going through a really bad phase of my life. Mentally and physically, I was just done. And I don't know where I would be without paralyzed veterans.
Winston Woodard III, Paralyzed Veterans of America.
My job is a service officer with the Paralyzed Veterans of America.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ-FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
It's done unto you as you believe. It's done unto you as you believe. I'm gonna get there, yes, somehow. Push my way through the crowd. I'm gonna grab you by the hand to a place we will stand. Stand proud, no fear, it's clear, I believe in you. I believe in me. Oh yeah, I believe that we can make this dream a reality.
Believe, do you believe? Welcome each and everybody listening and watching online to the Patrick Henderson's Meet the People radio show. We always start our show off with that song because we believe in you and we hope that you believe in we. And what I mean by we have some great distinguished gentlemen in the studio today. I am going to be your semi-co-host today, Brother Jason, and Patrick is actually at home. He's going to be joining us on the line as well, if he's not already there. Brother Patrick, you there?
Yes, I am here. Good morning.
Good morning, leader. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, my Church of God in Christ used to be, brother.
But let's go around the circle here. So, of course, we have our fearless leader, Patrick Henderson, on the line, and we also have another distinguished gentleman, Brother Richard. You there with us this morning?
Am I not always here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did I hear Carlton Douglas?
Yeah, so also in the studio with us, we have, again, several fine and distinguished gentlemen in the studio with us, joining us this morning. We have Carlton C. Douglas of the Carlton C. Douglas Funeral Services in the building, in the house, live and in living color. He's still living. So. And then another person that's with us, of course, and we enjoy him being a part of the team. As many of you know, we lost one of our what was called the intelligent distinguished gentleman, Mr. James C. Morant, which we dedicate each and every show to. But we have another fine gentleman in the studio with us and a civil rights champion and warrior in our community, Marvin the Marvelous, Doc Cheatham.
Good morning. God bless everyone and happy Black History Month.
Yes.
Folks, if you don't know, you can Google African American sheroes and heroes born in Baltimore City, And you will hear a document that I created now, probably about 10 years old now, where we not only show pictures but brief bios of sheroes and heroes that were actually born in the city of Baltimore that are African Americans that have done something of note. And we have them all listed and with a little bio. So definitely Google African American sheroes and heroes born in Baltimore City. Check it out. It's good information for Black History Month.
Is there one that you can share with us really quick for Black History Month? Did I put you on the spot there?
What do you want me to do?
Oh, how about we'll were in Baltimore City for Black History Month, and what we'll do is we'll go back to Patrick real quick so that Patrick can lead us into prayer. Brother Patrick?
Yes. If you're able to touch your radio, you're not driving. Won't everybody let us touch and agree on this beautiful, beautiful day. Oh, Lord, our God, we bless you for another opportunity to wake up and get up out of our beds. Some of us can't get out of our beds, oh God, but we thank you for another day of life, another opportunity, oh God, to share some love, to spread some love, to be the love that we claim to be. Lord, we love you. We love you so much, and we thank you for things, even the things we don't understand. We just wait patiently for your direction and our understanding to better understand the things that you do. Oh, Lord, we got an election coming up, oh God. Lord, touch the people's hearts, oh God. Let us get up and get Mom and them, Amy and them, everybody, oh Lord. We have to vote this year. Touch our hearts, oh God. Give us a spirit of common good for our people, because we are in trouble. This nation is in trouble, as unlike anything we've ever seen before. So we need you, Lord. Please come in and show yourself, oh God. We thank you. We ask you to right now to touch the family of Brother James C. Moran, oh God. I can't imagine the emptiness without them having their father and their husband, because we miss him so much. We have a seed dedicated to him for his memory. I was going through my Facebook and found old memories of his great writing and republished them, because, you know, when some people are gone, it just takes you a long time to get over them. And so we're thanking you for the opportunity, oh God, of life. Bless you, oh God. Bless us in all that we do, Lord. Touch that radio station. Touch Miss Hughes and Alfred, oh God, the leaders, oh God, in all that they do, and keep us in good health and in perfect peace. In thy Son, Jesus Christ's name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. And Father God, please touch Brother Patrick this morning, who couldn't find his keys this morning. may you help him find his keys this morning. So, Amen. But this morning, Patrick, we have Carlton Douglas in the building, and I know that we were going to talk and discuss some issues with Brother Douglas, and as well as tomorrow is the 7th Congressional District Election. For those of you who live in the 7th Congressional District, it is your responsibility, it is your duty to get out tomorrow and vote. Whoever you may vote for, whoever you may support. I see the fighting going on Facebook all month long in reference to different candidates. And of course, we see some really nasty politics going on, especially with our publications here in Baltimore. But Patrick, lead us off with this conversation for this beautiful Monday morning.
Well, for one thing, we're just so overwhelmed. I was talking with Richard, I believe it was yesterday, and he was saying, who is running? There's so many people running. We fear that people won't know who to vote for, and most likely we'll put back in people that have been there before because they have name recognition. The one I wanted to start out with was Jill Carter. I believe that we as a city are in debt to her, because she got rid of Pew. Really, it was her delving into it that exposed what Pew was doing with those books. And she comes from a long history of civil rights activists. I understand her father was just an incredible human being.
Yeah, he
right?
was.
Walter P. Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Patrick, with all due respect, my friend, I've spent the last 24 hours really paying attention
Okay.
to a lot of things that these candidates have been saying.
Uh-huh.
And what I'm hearing scares the living daylights out of me.
Oh, yeah, what is alarming you?
It scares me because they are assuming that the average citizen truly does not understand the three branches of government and who does what.
Well, yeah.
And we've seen that recently with the passing of Elijah Cummings and folks blaming him for everything from the potholes to the to the crime in the community.
And I'm listening to all of these commercials, and I'm saying to myself, the rhetoric that is being used to manipulate the average citizen into voting for a particular candidate is obscene. And unfortunately, we are our own worst enemies, because when they got rid of civics out of the educational curriculum, that led to this lack of knowledge.
Yes, I agree. More specifically, there are factions that are rising up, because, Jason, you made us aware of something yesterday that just struck me straight to my heart about Jill Carter that I didn't know, and I was planning on voting for her, but this one makes me go, what was she thinking? Can you tell us about that, Jason?
Yeah, and it's interesting because the same paper that actually released, it's an it's an opinion piece that was published in the Baltimore Sun. I believe it was on, I want to say January 30th on Thursday, in reference to Jill Carter, her voting record on a past bill against civil suits against child abusers. And the article actually is from the Baltimore Sun, January 30th. It is a opinion piece. It says, if Afume's passed is fair game, what about Jill Carter's 2019 vote protecting child abusers from civil lawsuits? And there was a committee hearing in the Senate in reference to House Bill 687 that would remove the statute of limitations on civil lawsuits filed by victims of child sexual abuse. Now, they said that if Jill would have voted in favor of the bill, that the bill would have moved forward and would have been unanimously supported in the Senate vote. But in this particular case, Jill split the vote 5-5. And when she was asked, which stalemated the bill, didn't allow the bill to move forward. And when Senator Carter was asked why did she vote in opposition of the bill, she said that her concerns were about the rights of alleged abusers. Now, we've always known that whether it's Delegate Carter, Senator Carter, she's always been progressive in her stances in reference to representing both sides of an argument. Even if you may not necessarily like the fact that she may be representing those that may be incarcerated, like when she supported the bail reform legislation. The bail industry came out in huge opposition of her looking at even tackling bail reform. But we know that bail disproportionately affects the African American community, whereas whites may have the resources to be able to post a bail, and even in some cases they may have a house as collateral to be able to post a higher bail. Most of the time we end up sitting in jail for 3 to 6 months, losing our jobs, losing our houses in some cases, like they did with our dear brother MacArthur, James MacArthur, who they locked up, kept incarcerated for several months, and he lost his house. His cat died, and all kinds of stuff happened in the process, because he was held without bail. So she's always been progressive in reference to representing many different sides of the argument that
I hope
may
all
not
of us
necessarily
get a chance to give our voices as to who we want to support.
Well, I mean, of course. But I find it interesting that again that this came out a couple of days before the election, this opinion piece, but then the Baltimore Sun's editorial board actually endorsed Senator Carter. So it's just interesting, the dirty politics that we see going on currently.
Carlton, what do you think about this?
About the 7th congressional race?
Yes, sir.
About this hit piece on Carter at this such late date. Do you think that somebody is? Because I understand the Catholic Church didn't want this bill to happen either, right, Jason?
Yeah, according to the article, of course, the Archdiocese of Baltimore, Catholic Archdiocese of Baltimore, too, was in opposition of the bill.
Well, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, Patrick. I'm glad that Jason had this information because I was not aware of this situation. I have looked at most of the candidates that I know because it's 32 of them, so I don't know everybody in this crew. But of course, personally, I support Kwesi Mfume.
Oh, okay.
And one of my reasons is, besides the fact that we grew up together out of the Turner Station area, is that he goes in as tenured. And I think that's important because that gives him a little more clout than if any of the others win going in as rookies.
Right.
And then you're not guaranteed if they're going to be in there the next go-round or not.
Right.
So that's my point of view. And I think he did a pretty good job when he was in there. A lot of people got to think against it because he left there to go to the NAACP. But, hey, he stayed in the struggle.
Yeah. Right,
he became president of the NAACP. So I don't think you should hold that against him.
Carlton, did you read the piece? I've only heard about this piece that was written by Julian Bond, which really slams Kwesi.
Well, he and Julian, first of all, Julian couldn't talk too much himself. I had some real problems with Julian that I won't even go into at this moment. But he and Kwesi had a very contentious relationship when Kwesi was president and Julian was chairman of the board. And it seems that every chairman of the board of the NAACP has had a problem with whoever is the president during their time.
Right.
So I wouldn't put too much into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like an opportunity to speak on this as well.
Yes, Doc.
Go
yes,
right
Doc.
ahead.
First and foremost, I think it's selfish of elected officials to be in office running for another position.
I do too.
So that's my first problem with that.
Yep.
Second is that we need someone to fill the seat initially from April to December. The folks that will be running in April for the primary and November in the general will be representing the district starting in January.
Right.
We need someone right now to represent us. For those who have never been to opening ceremonies, whether it's Annapolis or whether or not it's in D.C., there's an orientation period for new congressmen, new senators. There is a process and procedure to teach them the rules and regulations, how to deal with process and procedure to become a congressman. We don't need that waiting period. Right now, we need someone when he or she comes in office, we need them immediately being able to go in and do something. There's only one person out of all of the Democrats and Republicans that have filed that has that ability and experience. It is Kwesi Mfume. We're going to be voting, and I applaud the Sun. The Sun has a nice educational piece to explain to people what this election is that's happening tomorrow. So I'm suggesting
Actually, it's out today. The article is out today, correct?
Yeah, I actually have it.
Yep,
That reason
on the
I know
3rd.
it.
Yep.
I know it's here.
Yeah. I'm knowledgeable too, Jason.
Pick up the son.
I'm knowledgeable too. But let me say this, folks. Julian Bond, I did not think was a friend of the NAACP, though he was the head. We had Kwame Ture almost on his deathbed.
We lost somebody.
We brought Kwame Ture here. We picketed the NAACP headquarters. We were asking Julian and Kwesi to meet with the various presidents across the nation to come together as groups. Do you know Julian Bond would not come and meet with us?
Yeah, I had some
would
problem.
not come to meet with us. So I know that there are some folks who like to throw dirt, but I'm telling folks we need someone to take office in April, at the end of April, and be able to hold things down until January. That person, to me, there's only one, is Kwesi Mfume.
And Patrick, may I just briefly just piggyback on something that Doc said? And I've said that on my show several times. I got the same problem Doc got with these folk that are in office, and all of a sudden, when another position opens up, they want to run for it, but don't give up their seat to do it.
Right.
And I think somewhere down the line there ought to be a bill put in to stop this crap.
Carlton,
yeah.
I did that 6 months ago.
Yeah, you did.
As far as putting in a bill.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, sure did.
Okay.
I did it 6 months ago. It was sent to Senator Antonio Hayes, who is the chairman of the Baltimore City delegation of the Legislative Black Caucus. And isn't it strange I haven't heard word one since?
I believe you. And I bet you I can tell you why.
Well, let me suggest this to everybody that have problems with folks that are in Annapolis. Tonight, if you live in the city of Baltimore, bring your back, spine, and bowhine to Annapolis, and you can talk. This is Baltimore City Day in Annapolis. Bring your back, spine, and bowhine down to Annapolis and address these folks face to face.
Yeah,
that's my challenge.
I want to interject here, and just to be all fair in reference to support of particular candidates. So I hear you guys strongly supporting Kwesi and believing that he's the right person because he may end up having a certain amount of senior leadership, but technically that still has to be decided by whoever the Speaker of the House is.
I didn't make that statement. I did not make that statement.
No, not
Okay.
well, but I also hear from you though that you support the fact that he has the ability not to have to go through the freshman course.
That's correct.
But I think that, to be fair, Senator Carter is a smart cookie. And someone was even saying, well, she doesn't know where the bathroom is. I think she's the type of person that would wear an undergarment and wouldn't care about where the bathroom was. You know what I mean?
My love and
just
admiration for Jill Carter, so that you know, you're a little bit new to this, Jason, so far as Baltimore City.
Yeah.
I had Jill Carter as my attorney when I was the head of the NAACP, so I do know a little something about Jill.
Yes, sir.
And was a friend of her father's.
Yeah.
I have a great deal of admiration for her.
And I do
but
as
you're
well.
senator. Stay there, senator.
Right.
We got somebody running for mayor that's a senator. Stay as senator.
But I don't think that a lot of folks see now that I don't agree with, and I don't agree with what's going on with Corey McCray, with Senator McCray looking at going for, Delegate McCray. I'm not Delegate McCray. I'm sorry.
Mary Washington?
No.
You got Mary Washington
I'm sorry.
out there.
Nick Mosby going for city council president.
Yeah.
See, these are positions. Right. These are positions that come around in an election. What happened to Congressman Elijah Cummings was his passing. So to me, if I am in office and I see a position like that open up because of either someone was taken out of office because of corruption, like in the case of Delegate Cheryl Glenn, or like in the particular case Congressman Pugh. Or Mayor Pugh, then I don't see anything wrong with someone stepping up and saying, you know what, I feel that I could do a great job, although I am holding down a position right now. Let me apply for the position and show the people that this is what I want to do.
Well, Jason, for those positions, like especially with respect to the mayor, there is a line of succession that's already written out within the Maryland Charter.
Right, but see, those are elections that I understand. Like, it was just like when Mayor Martin O'Malley was in office.
Right,
now you want to run for governor, and you actually left the city in shambles. Like you created chaos, and then you left to go be governor. But those are the ones I understand.
But the people of Baltimore were dumb enough to vote him in as governor.
Yeah.
After they allowed him to screw up the city.
But those are the political hoppers that I definitely have an issue with. But when you have a position that opens up because someone passes, I think it's a little bit different. And I think that anybody should, even if they are sitting in office, should have the ability to take over a seat if somebody passes.
It's a question of fundamental fairness, Jason, that you have these individuals who are elected by individuals who are their constituents, and their constituents are expecting them to be there for them full time, not to have their attention diverted between running another campaign and doing things in Annapolis, and it's but because there are too many issues that are coming at us like a double-barreled shotgun that people are going to ultimately get hurt in.
Right. Well, family, we would love to hear from you. If you have a stake in the 7th Congressional District, if you are voting tomorrow, we'd like to hear from you. Who are you supporting? Why are you supporting that person? And why maybe you're not supporting the other particular candidates. But we'd love to hear from you. 410-481-1010 is the number, 410-481-1010. If you're calling outside of the area, you can give us a call at 877-704-1010. That's 877-704-1010. And you can also listen to us on WLB.com, as well as we are streaming live on Facebook, Periscope, and as well as YouTube. So,
Jason, it's WLBBaltimore.com.
What did I say?
You said WLB.com.
I thought I said WLBBaltimore.com. Sorry. Well,
that's okay. Just so they'll know.
Yeah. So we do have one caller. We have Brother Leon on the line. Let's grab Brother Leon and see what he has to say in reference to this. Good morning, Brother Leon. You're on with Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Henderson. I was listening and getting ready to go out the door. I'm 70 years old. I retired from the post office. I retired from K&S, and I retired from the city, okay? Get 3 pensions plus Social Security, okay?
Wow.
I live directly in the 7th District. I don't live in Baltimore County, Pikesville, and I don't live on the west side. Jill Carter called me about 3 months ago. She said, I heard that you are an activist in your community. I said, yeah, where'd you hear that? And she went on to say, we talked, effective March the 1st, there are going to be 2 students from Mergenthaler starting the mechanical department, mentorship over at a place called K&S Motors at 3939 Falls Road. I'm walking these letters through because you know how red tape is, being in the post office. You know, it takes 1,000 years to get something implemented. So I'm walking these letters through to the principal and to Senator Lisa downtown, okay? They will start March the 1st. They will leave the school 3 days a week and go to his company, and he will assign them to a technician. The teacher's mechanics was concerned what they will be doing. And so that was the preparation of the letter that I'm doing.
Wow. That is
they'll be changing tires and changing oil, and they'll be shadowing a person that performs mechanics on BMWs, Saabs, which is almost out of sight now. Anyway, the principal said to me while I was talking to her, she said, well, we got a press department here. We got a welding shop department. I said, wait a minute, one thing at a time. And the owner said, well, okay, you know, if you follow through, because under the previous administration, I set it up, and they let it falter, because the kids, when they were leaving school, they weren't going to the shop. And the guy said, I can't schedule business like this, Sam. I said, okay, all right, I will personally monitor it myself, and I ain't getting paid for it, okay? And next I'm going to move into the press department. I already got a lead, 501 Press Ministry or whatever. It's a press place over there, and see if they will accept a kid for mentorship from Mergenthaler. The welding department, I don't know about that because I don't know the welding departments in this area of the 7th Congressional District, but I'll find one.
But
And if I can't find one, I'll go outside the district.
She personally.
Then I'm going to move into Carver. I understand it has cosmetology.
Leon, Patrick's asking you a question.
She personally called you and
Hold on. Let me turn this off. Hold on. Yeah, she called me because I helped her with when she first went into the legislature down there. So she knows me, knows of me. Okay.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's good news. I'm gonna say this while I got the the mic. My fear for Kwesi and Fumi is if he gets in there, if he wins, that the Me Too movement is gonna be all over him. And that's what the article was saying in the Sun. If Kwesi is fair game, then so is Jill Carter. But
I don't care about their politics. But I told Kwesi over there at the Big Daddy, which was my 27th year over there, and I left because everybody was over there for a political shoot or whatever, showing that they're feeding the homeless. And it wasn't hardly any African Americans over there. It was mostly Spanish-speaking people with their families.
Family, we have to move on because it's the top of the hour and we have a station ID that we have to address here.
Yeah, look, I'll see you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leon.
Thank you, Leon. Folks, you can call in 410-481-1010. Again, the number is 410-481-1010. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Don't you go anywhere. It's about to get hot up in here.
Talk in the day. Soul at night on the new 1010 WOLB. WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
No fear, it's clear. I believe in you. I believe in me. Oh yeah, yeah. I believe that we can make this dream a reality. Oh yeah. Now's the time.
Welcome back, family. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People radio show. It's Brother Jason on the microphone with you this afternoon. Patrick Henderson is on the line, as well as Richard is on the line with us. Doc Cheatham is in the studio with us, as well as Carlton C. Douglas is in with us as well. Carlton, real quick, tell everybody how they can listen to you here on WOLB.
Oh, well, we are blessed to have been a part of what started as the Frank M. Conaway Show.
Yes, sir.
On Fridays from 10 to 12. It was started by the late, great Frank Conaway. And I think this is about my 10th year having been on there with Frank. And then when Frank passed, it was Sister Nzinga, A. Dwight Pettit, and at that time, the late Corrigan Vaughn was part of the program also, and we got together and decided that we would keep the show and keep it in Frank's name as a as a memorial. So every Friday from 10 to 12 here on OLB, you'll listen to it. You'll hear us.
I think it's one of the oldest shows here on WLB besides the Larry Young Morning Show.
Yeah, I think we are the oldest specialty show.
Yes.
I think we are.
Yes.
Well, I can tell all of my listeners, you don't want to miss Patrick Henderson Meet the People, and you don't want to miss Frank Conaway Show every Friday, man. I sit down, I make my coffee. That's my Friday ritual.
Well, Carlton, I don't know whether y'all knew this or not, but myself, Hassan Giordano, and Corrigan had a 2-hour show on Fridays from 10 to 12.
Before Frank, wasn't it? Huh? It was before Frank, wasn't it?
No, yeah, it was before Frank.
Before Frank,
It was before
yeah.
Frank.
Yeah.
And the whole objective was to get voting rights for former felons. I created the radio show. I formed the Maryland Voting Rights Restoration Coalition, and as a result of that, we brought voting rights to former felons.
Yes.
And that was the whole purpose of the radio show. And the radio show was 2 hours, and then we created a 1 hour cable TV show.
Okay.
Called Voting Rights Today.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And
yeah.
got great funding. 5 national groups funded us. They paid us for doing the show.
Okay.
Videoing and everything. But I just thought y'all took talk show to the highest level possible when y'all did the Frank M. Conaway Sr. et al. Show.
Yeah.
And it is great. It is a great show.
Thank you so much for that, Doc. I appreciate that.
I truly miss Frank Conaway Sr. as well as
you do.
Yeah, as well as Corrigan.
Yeah,
I think about Corrigan all the time.
Both of them were sudden and shocks to everybody when they left us.
Yeah.
You know,
I miss that conservative voice. We don't have that black conservative
and Corrigan
voice anymore.
Could give it to you.
Yes, he will.
Corrigan and I battled even on the radio show.
I had many battles with Carl.
Oh yeah.
Not with Carlton, but Corrigan.
Corrigan, yeah.
I did. Well, gentlemen, I would like to posit this.
Patrick, talk a little bit more into the phone. You're fading out.
I would like to posit. Do you all feel that there is sort of a conspiracy with this DNC committee to do these things? This is why these people don't quit their jobs when they're running for new office, because then that committee can come in and put in there who they want to without input or direction from the community. We went to the last one where they appointed Nick Mosby, and I thought the people was getting ready to tear that place up in there when they did it, because it all seemed so already in play, like it was fixed, and people were just irate about it.
Now, is this the state DNC
you talking about the city Democratic State Central Committee?
Which one are you talking about?
Well, who puts the people in the state seats?
City Democratic for the replacement where Nick Mosby came in, that was a Democratic State Central Committee in general, but the 40th District in specific. And basically those delegates representing that district did the bidding of Senator Pugh. Senator Pugh first attempted to put in Mr. Brown, who wasn't even active in his community, because that's who Catherine Pugh wanted, and that's who she nominated. And then he caught flack with his illegal dealings, and then evidently, I guess Nick decided he's going to drop out and become a supporter of Catherine Pugh, so it's no accident that he ended up getting the nod from Catherine Pugh from the Central Committee to do her bidding. So I blame the Central Committee for the 40th District that we in the plight that we're in today.
What Brown was it?
And in the case of the 40...
What Brown was it she was trying to put in?
Her employee.
Okay, but I mean, what's his first name? The guy that got messed up with her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And in reference to...
I think his name was Gerald or something weird like that.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about now. They raided his house and...
Right.
And in reference to the 45th with Delegate Cheryl Glenn and the shenanigans that kind of went on with that as well. I know that people were petitioning the governor to not nominate Branch's daughter in the process because they just didn't like the process. But if you don't like the process, of course, you need to change the bylaws. But just thinking hypothetically, let's say if Senator Carter stepped down, who would have to nominate her position?
41st Democratic State Central Committee.
Okay, so
are
it would
the ones
be
who discuss it. The governor, of course, has the say in it. But it starts with the Democratic Central Committee for that legislative district.
Right.
The difference is in Congress, it doesn't go to the Central Committee. It actually goes to the voters themselves.
And I've been there several times to see some of these Democratic Central Committee votes in reference to when Hattie passed away. You remember the shenanigans that
Hattie
went on
Harrison?
there?
Yeah. By the way, her son just passed too.
Wow.
Oh,
sorry to hear that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But I was in the Fighting 45th, we call it at the time. I was in McElderly Park at the time, and I never forget, the shenanigans that went on. You had folks that were voting for folks that weren't even nominated And they kept saying, who is voting for this person that's not even nominated, not even present, but they just couldn't just come along to get along, right. In the process.
Well, the one thing I noticed about that committee was there were 2 or 3 blood relatives that were voting on that committee.
Which selection were we discussing?
That was the one with Nick Mosby.
Oh, you talking about the Welch family?
Yes, that's exactly.
Tiffany Welch and her mother were voting members. Arlene Fisher was there; she voted. Mr. Brown was a member of the Central Committee, so he voted for himself initially as well.
And just for folks that don't know who Welch is, you talking about Agnes
Welch, who is the councilwoman, and her granddaughter.
Oh, okay.
Tiffany is the granddaughter, of course, and the granddaughter.
Is that Pete's daughter?
That's Pete's daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in some cases, that's why folks say that folks get on the Central Democratic Committee in the first place, is because they're hoping that if something goes down, I'm sitting on the committee.
That's one of the perks.
Right,
that's one of the perks. You're basically in line. But so folks will know the real purpose of the Democratic Central Committee. One is to register voters,
right?
To do as much as you can to support the delegates and the senator of the district in which you are the member of the Central Committee. Now, where the Democratic Central Committee for Baltimore City has been a great disservice. What have they done? Have y'all seen them register voters?
No.
No, the answer is no.
Nope.
That was my next subject. And so what are they doing anything to try to help us to get a central voting place in Mondawmin? Have you heard anything from any of them?
We reached out to them. They definitely didn't reach out to us. They are 2 bills. Senate Bill 310, introduced by Senator, I forgot my senator's name. It'll come to me. The senator from the 40th introduced the bill in the House. Antonio Hayes, which is Senate Bill 310. House Bill is 442. That's introduced by the delegates from the 40th District. This is the 10th year that the western part of Baltimore City, more especially the Western Police District area, does not have an early voting site. Northwest has one on Park Heights. Southwest has one on Edmondson Avenue. But the western part of Baltimore City does not have an early voting site, and it's called voter suppression. And I charge the election board of Baltimore City for this voter suppression. This is the 10th year. No early voting site.
So we know its purpose.
Hearing is this Thursday at 1 o'clock. Both the Senate bill and House bill, both are scheduled for 1. We did speak with Senator Antonio Hayes this past week. What his intent is to first have the Senate bill heard in the Health Environmental Affairs building. And then after that hearing, we will all go over to the House side and hear the House Bill 442. And all we're attempting to do is to bring about what early voting has 2 purposes. One is to significantly reduce the lines on Election Day, and 2 is to make voting more accessible.
Yes, sir.
That's the purpose of an early voting site. And if you don't have accessibility, how more accessible is the Mondawmin area?
Right.
You got the subway there. You got 14 buses there, 2 colleges, 4 high schools, 87 community groups, 52 churches, all in that Mondawmin area. Why doesn't it have an early voting site?
Right.
You got to look at who's in charge of the Baltimore City election board.
Especially when all the early voting sites are on the outskirts of the city.
On the outskirts, yeah. Why not one right in the city? Folks know where the highest percentage of African Americans that reside in the city of Baltimore live? They live in West Baltimore.
That's right.
82.16% of the residents living in West Baltimore are African American. It's no accident we don't have an early voting site.
And the number one black voting community is
Ashburn. That's right.
Yeah. Well, family, the lines are lit. Brother Thomas, you're on with Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Good morning, sir.
How's everybody doing today?
Marvelous.
Fine, Tom.
Carlton Douglas, my main man who married above himself, and God knows so did I. Hey, listen, man, can I talk about the mayor audio race real quick? Is that okay?
Sure.
DA Freak Nasty. Okay? He will forever
I will forever be known to him as D.A. Freak Nasty. Let me ask you this, guys. Anybody who ever been stopped by the police in Baltimore City, Baltimore County, or wherever, have you ever had somebody in your car that they let just get out and walk away?
No.
Huh?
No.
No? If your tags are suspended, guys, do they, and motor vehicles issue a pickup order on your tags,
Yeah.
do they let you drive away?
Yeah, I have had that happen to me.
Or drive you home.
No, they let me drive away. This white cop, he let me drive away. He said, "I'm not going to take your car, Mr. Henderson. Just go ahead and take care of it."
Okay, but I'll say this, guys. I've never had that happen to me before.
Yeah.
Okay, even if it's a mistake at motor vehicles, because number one, when they tow your car, they got one particular, at least in Baltimore County, when they tow your car, they got one particular towing service that they use, which is Varsity Towing, and that's only because they get a kickback from each time they call Varsity to tow a car for them.
Yeah.
That's $75 kickback, guys.
Yeah.
Now,
So you're saying it's
listen
corrupt?
to me, Vicaranga. If he wins this mayoral post in Baltimore City, right? T.J. Smith is going to become his police commissioner.
Why you say that?
Because T.J. Smith's going to have a job. T.J. Smith and Vicaranga is working this thing together, guys, and they both got convicted felon Ed Norris as their political strategist in this
I
state.
talked to Vic Naraj, and he said that's not true. He ended up on the stage with him. They put him next to him. He said he has nothing to do with that guy. Now, that's what he told me. He could be lying.
So he said he has nothing to do with it, right?
Well, I question that, Patrick, because and one thing about Thomas, he's been consistent on that theory of his. He has not wavered from it, and the fact that it seems to be that Fox 45 is in the tank for Vic Naraju.
Yeah.
And the fact that I want some answers on why Ed Norris is sitting up. First of all, why do you go to Ed Norris concerning anything talked about police in this city? He's a convicted felon. You have at least 5 former retired police commissioners that live in this town and in this area that they could go to other than Ed Norris.
I agree with you.
So it seems to be something going on in this situation.
Right.
So I can't count out what Thomas is saying.
Ed Norris is Fox 45's security expert, police expert.
Yeah, right. It used to be Dr. Tyrone Powers, but Dr. Tyrone Powers is currently working for Baltimore
But they
City.
still go, because Tyrone was on this morning.
Okay.
So they still go to Tyrone for something.
Right.
But if you want to have somebody sitting up on the stage, why you don't have Tyrone sitting up there? Why do you have this convicted felon?
Yeah.
I have not seen Tyrone Powers at any of these events.
Right.
Now, let me finish this real quick, guys. If T.J. Smith wins the mayoral seat, then Vicaranga will become your police commissioner.
And tell them why, Tom. Tell them why.
Do you know that there's nothing in the city charter that says your police commissioner has to be in law enforcement?
Correct.
According to Article 19, Section 5 of the Public and Local Laws for the City of Baltimore, that is true. Now, but here's the other little piece to the puzzle. According to, I think it's Section 6, what happens is whoever becomes commissioner can appoint whoever they want to as deputy, and nobody can say a word about it without any discussion or without any questions.
So they can appoint their own deputy commissioner.
You got it.
So right now, Ed Norris, being a convicted felon, let's say if one of these guys wanted to appoint him.
He could come back.
Yeah. Yeah, as a
Now,
deputy commissioner.
Here's the other piece. I think there's a bigger hand somewhere in the background.
Martin O'Malley.
A man after my own heart.
Martin O'Malley, that's when he's most dangerous.
Yeah, well, Richard feels the same way. Those are his sentiments.
I do too. I do too. I feel that Martin O'Malley's and the current family are somewhere in the back pulling some strings.
But listen, guys, but who's in this race that you don't hear nothing about? And right now, everybody thinks this person may actually have a good chance of winning the race.
She does have a good chance.
The white lady, right?
You're talking about Mary Miller.
Miller. She does have a good chance.
Mary Miller.
Yeah.
And I
mean, she's sitting back being quiet. She's not attacking nobody.
No.
She's letting other people do her talking for her.
But also on top of that, she's already, and I think she has already got, what did you call them, Dr. Seven Sisters?
Yep.
You got that Upper Park Heights lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
You got Guilford lockdown. She's got Guilford lockdown. She has that Roland Park lockdown.
Right.
And I believe she has Federal Hill lockdown.
And see, I had a conversation with Patrick a few weeks back where I told him, I said, if she comes in, she worked with President Obama's administration under the U.S. Treasury. If there is a
candidate.
No. If she has, if there's any loyalty for what she's done under the Barack Obama administration,
exactly.
They could definitely come in and support her.
She will try.
Barack Obama is not. He's not going to come into black.
We didn't say Barack, so let me put this out there. We're not talking about Barack as being the support. There's two people that could come in that could sew this election up for her. One is Michelle Obama, because she would come in under a sisterhood, or after some of this stuff weans over in reference to the impeachment, Joe Biden could easily come in as well, looking for political support as well as fundraising for herself, and help Mary Miller out as well, which would give her a little bit of endorsement.
Well, Jason, let me ask you this. Why hasn't the Obamas come out and supported Joe Biden yet?
Because they know Joe Biden is a racist.
Thank
you.
They know
Joe
Biden. Patrick. Now, but I will say this, guys. Who else is in the race that's making a little bit noise that you ain't hearing nothing about? But they said this guy is supposed to be so intelligent. I think he used to work at the college out there.
Which guy?
The black guy that used to work at the college. Baltimore County Community College out there. What was his name?
See, I don't even know.
He has a funny sounding last name. Not the Arab, not the Muslim guy, Arab guy, not him, but the other guy.
Dr. Jaleesis or whatever.
What's his name, Patrick?
Dr. Jalees.
No, not Jalees.
Dr. J is running for.
He's running for Congress.
He's running for
Congressional District.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know the name.
Well, let me say.
Hopefully somebody could let us know.
Let me say this about what's her name, Mary Miller.
Yes.
Mary Miller.
Yeah, I have a different perspective about her, that situation with her. I actually believe that as many people who think that the black vote is going to be split, I now think the white vote is going to be split. And I really think that whoever's going to win that position, you got to turn out your base.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody can win in this. Well, I used to think that nobody could win without the black vote in this city, but because there's so many people running, people splitting it up will take the real heat off of the one that might garner the most votes, right? What do they call that? There's a name for it I can't think of.
Call it plurality.
Yeah, and so the whites end up winning because there's more of them who vote, and the black vote gets split up, and it weakens the chances, of someone being elected.
Because you actually had somebody call, I believe, Larry's show last week, thinking that there was no white candidate in the mayoral.
Yeah, that was one of the calls.
Election.
But he was alleging, and I think it was basically he didn't know all the different candidates.
Yeah, I think that's what it was too.
Filed.
Yeah.
Well, let's give her a little bit of credit. She also worked and did an excellent job of helping to turn Detroit around.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh,
she's from Detroit or what?
No.
Well, I mean,
as a result of the work that she did and the fact that the Obama administration was supportive of such. She was involved in the, I guess, the renaissance of Detroit. Her fingerprints are on it.
That got my attention because, Carlton, you remember when we went to Detroit, I didn't even recognize it. It was so much better.
Yeah, and they attributed, of course, to the new white mayor.
Well, guys, I have to confess, I haven't decided who I'm voting for mayor yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
So full disclosure for me, I'm an independent, so I don't have a horse in this
And full
race.
disclosure for me, I live down in Pikesville, so although my business is in the city, so I know who I would like to see. I won't say right now, but I know who I would like to see only because I believe that if they won, that they would be looking. They would not be answering to the white folk that control the city, that they're going to try to renovate for the black folk.
And who do you think that would be?
I think it would be Sheila Dixon.
I don't think white folks are going to vote for her, but I hear a lot of people feel the same way that you do. But I don't think white folks will vote for her. Man, when you mess with kids, and I told Catherine Pugh right in the front of my house, she lives next door to me. I was trying to get her to put water filters on the schools, so the kids could go drink water. And she said, well, I ain't got no money to do that. And there she had all these millions of dollars that she was selling that book for. She could have took $200,000 and did that. She said Santa Lisa should do it, And I never forgot that. And I told her, I said, God don't like it when you don't look out for kids. Those are my last words. Her chauffeur pulled off.
Patrick, the boards are full. Let's go to Brother Bubby. Brother Bubby, you're on with Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for taking my calls. How everybody doing?
Hey, all right, sir. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to y'all. Do y'all know Rudy Child retired Friday?
Yep.
Yes, sir. And we were talking about it on Sunday that he's still going to get a pension, which he put 20 years into the the Department of Public Works, so he's entitled to.
He should have been terminated. But like everything in Baltimore, when you have politicals that embed with the people that put the deputy directors in office, you have all this type of corruption and this nepotism. But let me just say while we're talking about nepotism, can you tell me who is the executive director or AFSCME, Council 67, where their wife is a city council person and their sons work in Jack Young office? You tell me what kind of conflict is that, and nobody want to say nothing because Larry Young will not say a bad word against the military.
Well, check this out. Did you saw how many of y'all saw Kim Trueheart down there at the BOC, the Board of Estimates, the other day, saying that it's bad. It's a bad look for contractors to be able to contribute to campaigns, but it's perfectly legal in this city to do it. Yeah, it was on the news. I didn't hear any more about it. I used to one spot on her.
Yeah.
I saw they had an interview of Joan Pratt as she was going into, I think, the Board of Estimates area with one of the reporters asked her that specific question. And that's where I think, with this new, because there will be, to some degree, some new folks that will be in City Hall, we need to seriously look at some of the shortcomings with reference to the Board of Estimates and the power of the mayor. And I'm one that likes the idea of the power of a mayor, but I think in our case it's been used and abused and it needs some corrections, including only making it 3 people voting rather than 5. The mayor has nothing to do with this mayor or any other mayor. That is far too much power. We need to duplicate what's happening in Annapolis. You got 3 people who make the decisions. That's the treasurer, the comptroller, and the governor. We don't need
Let me say this. Doc Cheatham, are you aware that the Baltimore City Police Commissioner make $100,000 more a year than the mayor of Baltimore City?
Yeah, that's what they had to pay him to get somebody in here. Did nobody want the job?
Hey, Patrick. You don't pay somebody that type of guarantee money. His contract is guaranteed with no stipulation. So this man have a 5-year plan in a 5-year contract.
With the golden parachute.
I did agree with that contract from the beginning. I thought that was a farce from the beginning.
But don't blame the commissioner.
No, can't blame the commissioner.
The Board of Estimates and the City Council.
They approved it. Yeah, they approved that.
But Carlton Douglas, if you know, the contract was set for the guy Fitzgerald, who was a Philadelphia friend of Pew.
Right, because they thought he was going to get it.
Exactly.
Till he ran into some problems.
Right. He was a crook. So I'm saying this to say, when you have the department heads make more than the mayor, and the department heads are appointed by other people other than the mayor, they control the city. Yep. That's why right now, in probably a week or 2 weeks, I'm going to give y'all some concrete information that a local city union is now abolishing jobs because of Jack Young complicity and the complicity of Glenn Militant, who's supposed to represent these people. Now, when are we going to have an honest conversation about the Democratic Party have betrayed the majority citizenry of Baltimore, and the union have betrayed the black citizens of Baltimore City? When are we going to have that conversation? When you deal with corruption, someone talked about Joan Carter. If you remember, she was the head of the Civil Rights Division. I know for a fact we took her over 800 documented proof for her to do something about the Baltimore City Housing Authority. And like they all said, we talking to the mayor, and the mayor going to get back. But until we have an inspector general that will attack the corruption at the Baltimore City Housing Authority, I keep saying it, and no one come on these ads and say that I'm lying. Until you attack that and they spreading the funds all around outside communities, such like the one that I live in, you can continue to have it. None of our politicians are owned by us. They're not even leased by us. They owned by others, and I stand by that statement.
Yeah. Brother Bubby, only because of time we have to go, and I thank you for calling in and sharing that information with us. That's why I remain an independent. I can't be affiliated with your Democratic Party, unfortunately. So, but it's 12:31 right here on the Patrick Henderson's Meet the People show. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Side by side, we will run. We can be number one.
Talking the day, soul at night on the new 1010 WOLB.
Hello, this is Talmadge Branch, Majority Whip for the Maryland House of Delegates and candidate for Congress. Some communities of the 7th District have been experiencing an uptick in crime for far too long. The murder rate in Baltimore City and Baltimore County are at record highs. I know firsthand the devastating impact violent crime can have on families. In 2017, my grandson was senselessly killed in East Baltimore. Severe tragedy has impacted families through our district, and gun violence has taken our loved ones from us forever. Currently, I am the only congressional candidate that has secured millions of dollars to fight crime and gun violence. I'm committed to reducing crime. As your congressman, I will bring resources, manpower, and federal law enforcement to fight and win this war on crime. February the 4th, vote for someone who understands. Vote Talmadge Branch for Congress.
Paid for by Branch for Congress. Donna X. Harris, Treasurer.
Welcome to The Heights, where we focus on positivity and solutions. With your host, George E. Mitchell. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, at the new time, 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. That's right, every day, 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. on WOLB 1010 a.m. to hear not what's wrong with our community, but what we can do to improve our community from the perspective of the people in the community. The Heights is a radio program for the people, by the people. So spread the word. It's time to make a difference.
I'm Maya Cummings. During the unrest following Freddie Gray's death, Elijah and I went the few blocks to Penn and North. I'll never forget the young man who came up to Elijah and he said, "Every morning, I feel like I wake up in a coffin and I spend my day trying to claw my way out." We can't afford to lose an entire generation of black talent to police corruption, gun violence, or a lack of opportunity. I'm running for Congress and I approve this message because in Congress, I will fight for Baltimore's children.
Paid for by Maya R. Cummings for Congress.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
The The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
It's done unto you as you believe.
Welcome back. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People right here on WOLB 1010 AM.
Hey, Jason?
Yes, sir.
If I may, you wanna know how we can begin to hold the mayor and the city council accountable for what they do?
How?
There's one simple solution. Put into law recall provisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one. I think another option would be, too, as well, as I'd like to see the two positions that the mayor has in reference to the Board of Estimates being either an elected position or a position that's really decided more.
The two positions, DPW.
Yeah.
The two positions are administrative agencies that come under Article 1 of the Baltimore City Code, because under the office of the mayor. Now, the only way they could change that, they would have to amend that section and take them out, and the mayor would not have the ability to have them on the Board of Estimates.
Right. Now, there's a discussion in reference to stripping the mayor of their power and putting in a city manager. So if they can, move something like that forward, they can look at giving some of the power back to the people in reference to the purse.
Here's my problem with all of that, man.
I got a problem with that too.
Here's my
Board of Estimates.
No, I got a problem with that city manager thing.
Yeah, I don't like the city manager thing, but I think that some of the power needs to be given back to the people as far as the purse.
Here's my skepticism on all of that. Why would people like, say, one Brandon Scott be pushing so hard to be mayor if he's going to put in legislation that would strip the power of the mayor?
Right.
Well, I for one, my fear about it is because I believe in best practices, and Richard, I believe you believe that if it happens, who's going to pick that person? The city council? We know they're malleable. In other words, offer them a hot dog and nobody knows about it and they'll take a deal. So
or Patrick, in some cases you've heard this personally, Patrick, where the mayor has made deals with certain city council members and said that I would be willing to do this at the Board of Estimates for your district if you vote for this particular bill or for this particular or get this out of committee.
That's what I'm talking about right there. So, but I like the idea if somebody would come in and say these are the best practices and these are the practices, because that's what they did in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I'm telling y'all, you ever been to Detroit 4 or 5 years ago and you go back there now, you will not recognize it.
Well, Patrick, my wife is from Detroit, so we up there at least maybe once or twice a year. So,
wow.
You're telling me exactly correctly. In fact, my wife's family owned a piece of property up there, her grandmother's house, and the property value had gone down so bad that it was actually ridiculous, and they were discussing on whether they were going to sell it or hold on to it. And after they got this new white man there, I said, y'all better hold on to that property because the property values are coming back, and they are.
Yeah.
They are coming back.
And I think that's the same thing when you said, that Detroit switched over to a white mayor. I'm wondering if that may end up happening here in Baltimore City.
Didn't they put it into receivership first before they put the white?
Yeah, they were in receivership first. And they had a Republican governor at the time, and he was playing games. And then finally, this white Democrat popped up and beat out all the black candidates. And when you talk to many of the players in Detroit that I know, they said it was time for change.
And that's where the manager came in from. Originally, it was a federal manager. So originally it was because of the receivership. Right. But they kept that into their...
I think that was under Scott Walker was governor at that point.
But they kept that into their charter. So now the mayor has a city
Whoever
manager.
The governor was that screwed up in Flint. with that water.
That was
deal.
Walker. That was Scott Walker.
Mhm.
Snyder, wasn't it Snyder? What was his name?
Yeah, was it Snyder?
I think it was Snyder.
I
but
think
you
it
all-
began with Snyder, I believe.
And they
Yeah.
also had that guy that owns Optima Tax to become like the city father.
Yeah.
And he started doing things like building up the what do you call them when places are of importance to the like Ford and the museums and stuff, and he started doing a lot of things, capital improvements,
Yeah,
which clean that downtown up, and it's just fabulous.
Patrick, so Brother Carlos, please hold. Sister Diane, Brother Haki, hold on 1 second. So, Brother Douglas, we were talking at the break that there was something that's going on in our community that really needs to have a quick discussion about.
This is to the veterans, and if you listen to both of my shows, because I do another show on another station on Wednesday from 1 to 2, I always come on saying, veterans, get your DD-214. There's a reason for that. The reason is, if something should happen to you, God forbid, that you pass away, and your request or your family's request is for you to be placed in a veteran cemetery, unless you have that DD-214 handy when your family meets with the funeral director to make your arrangements, ain't no telling how long it's going to be before you get cleared to be in there. I have a situation right now of a gentleman who's passed away over a week ago. His wife thought she had a DD-214, but it wasn't. It was just a plain discharge showing that you've been discharged. DD-214 gives the history of your service in the whatever service you were in, with your valid dates of entry and exit, and long as it says honorable. Now, what I hope will happen is that the VFWs in this state, along with the American Post, they come together, put some pressure on the governor to get a better system. Because they used to have one young lady that if you didn't have a DD-214, you could call her, she'd get on it, and usually maybe in a week or so, she'll find it. They got rid of her, and they're not replacing her. So now what we got to do, we got to fax a request to St. Louis and wait. Now, ain't no telling how many requests are in before hours.
Right.
Okay?
So
And it's just terrible.
Holding them out of the grave.
Yeah. I mean, it's atrocious. Then when you come in and talk about, oh, you don't look like it, well, I guess not, because he's been out here for about a month.
Wow. Thanks for that. I want to turn the conversation to, I know you got some callers there, but I want to get back with Doc. What can we do? Can we call these people about why they're they're acting so slow about making Mondawmin a voting place? What do we need to do, Doc? What can we as the people do?
Well,
to make this happen?
I'm glad you brought it back up. It's not that they're being slow; they are opposing.
What?
They are opposing it. As I said, this is 10 years ago when early voting first came to the state of Maryland. The different election boards selected the locations. What needs to be done, as I indicated, there is a hearing, both in the Senate and the House, this Thursday at 1 o'clock, where you can testify on both bills at 1. But what also needs to be done, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you have representation on the city election board. Tell those individuals who sit on the board that you want an early voting site. We don't want to replace any site. No, we're not saying we need it for tomorrow. Could it possibly happen in April of the election? Quite possible. Could it happen for the November election? Quite likely. We need the folks to make a phone call to the city election board. Tell them you are calling because you want an early voting site in West Baltimore.
Right.
And
okay. Is that a number?
Number is let's see. I'll tell you my 410-396-5570. I know that's one of the city election board numbers. I haven't been there in about 15 years. But we're not asking to get rid of any site. All we're saying is that you have a major part of Baltimore City that has access to public transportation, and as a result of public transportation, we should have a voting site in the Mondawmin area.
Absolutely, absolutely. And anything other than that is voter suppression.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Call it what it is. So give them that number one more time. I was trying.
The number, I'm pretty certain, 410-396-5570, or you can call, of course, 410-396-3100. That's the switchboard for the city, and ask them to connect you to the election board, and ask to speak to someone on the board, whether it's the director, Armstead BC Qualley Jones, who is the director, but there's also a 5-member board who basically set the tone and directions for the board. We need to let folks know we want an early voting site. And we have 2 excellent folks representing the Democratic Party that are on that board. Arlene Fisher, outstanding sister, and Joyce Smith, who is the sister of the delegate.
Cheryl Glenn,
2 outstanding women that are on that board. Don't let the director of the election board tell you what's in the best interest of our community.
And I'm still trying to figure out why Armstead is still there.
He's a Republican. And you can thank Martin
Oh, is
O'Malley.
that? Oh, really?
You can thank
Oh,
Martin
that's right.
O'Malley
Okay.
and the former Senator McFadden for that.
Well, let's go to the lines. You can join in once there's a line open, 410-481-1010. Brother Carlos, you're on with Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Good afternoon.
Wow, you all got a whole bucket of issues. I will say this real quickly that Armstrong, what's his name? Armstrong
Jones.
Armstead
Jones and whatever. That he serves at the pleasure of the governor, if I'm not mistaken, and that governor, the governor of the state of Maryland, controls that board. Just at this point, in reference to Detroit, you'll find if you go investigate further that the black poor people in Detroit are still catching hell, having their houses taken for water bills and taxes and so forth, and games are being played in their community as in elsewhere. And I wanted to just touch upon the congressional 7th election. Is there any empirical evidence that even with you, astute gentlemen, saying that what's happening, that you can get more than 25% of Black Baltimore or any part of Baltimore to come out and vote for these congressional candidates? And I have not heard one congressional candidate say they always say they bring home the bacon, but what does it matter if they bring home the bacon to other communities and we get the drippings in the Black community?
Sounds like Thomas Brant has been saying that on his commercials. He's bringing home the bacon. I said, well, damn it, I ain't seen none in my community.
I mean, sometimes you got the drippings down south. We used to put the drippings in molasses, and make a meal out of it. But damn, that just don't work. I want to hear them articulate a plan. And by the way, what about those other congressmen that represent Baltimore as well? I think maybe Sarbanes might be one, and there might be even
Ruppersberger has a part of Baltimore City as well.
I mean, you never hear those people. Now, couldn't these congressmen get together and combine with the Baltimore representative or who represents that 7th district and say, look, things are not happening the way we want them to happen in terms of the money going to the targeted areas that need it. And they need to raise hell. Now, I don't see any firebrand, any fireball out there who can raise the hell to get that changed. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, Brother Carlos. And I don't know about y'all. I don't want the swine. I want the beef. So, Sister Diane, you're on with Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Good afternoon, my sister.
How y'all doing?
All right.
All right. Good afternoon. Hey, Patrick. I hope you feel better.
Hey, sweetie.
It's been so much sad. I'm like that last caller. We got Dutch Rutenberg, we got what's his name, Salzbank, we got Ben Carton. We got so many people, that represent part of Baltimore, but they don't bring the money home to the areas and I'm in the 7th district. And what puzzle me. And Doc, I'm so glad that you brought this up about the Central Committee, because I was saying the same thing. Why are they not out pushing to register people in the high-risk areas, as they call it in Baltimore City? But that, to me, that's another code name to get us out of Baltimore City. Even with this thing about crime, right? Everybody is talking about crime, but nobody really has a plan about crime. Everybody got the same. When you go to those forums, everybody got the same answer. That's not the answer. You have to have the people in the community to help you out.
Right.
To have a good crime plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I say everybody has a crime plan, but nobody has a master plan for Baltimore City yet.
Right. And you know what? I'm gonna tell y'all this. I went to one forum, and that was Friday, because I haven't been to too many of them. I went to Murray, Washington. She had one off of, on Lock Raven, right off of Belvedere. Her crime plan was for the people. The people gave her suggestions. I like that. That's what you need. She said, I'm not here to tell y'all. I want you all to tell me what y'all want in a crime bill. I like that, because she felt that the community, and it wasn't just East Baltimore, she wanted everybody. I put it on my Facebook. I sent it to a lot of people, because she sent it to me, and I started sending it to my Facebook family and friends. But I think that for Baltimore City, we need to change that state central committee the way it is. And in East Baltimore, the 45th district, they still mad about what happened when Cheryl Glenn and with the new thing with Thomas Branch. They still
Thomas
talking
Branch's
about
daughter.
that.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, why the governor, when there were, I'm pretty sure there were quite a amount of complaints that came in.
Well, what I'm hearing, Jason, that it might be an investigator. But my other question is, y'all, I've been hearing stuff about this governor with something with business. Why none of the radio stations are talking about it?
Right.
And they talk about Catherine Pugh, but not with his stuff.
Yeah.
So, something is wrong there.
And how he increased his wealth through the private sector.
Well, and what he's doing in particular is all the road improvements, infrastructure improvements are surrounding his property. That's the big thing.
Well, Patrick, I heard what you said, but we need to talk about it. I mean, we need to shine some light on it. We shine a light on all the black people that got caught in this corruption web, but we're not talking about the white people. And one of the senators that Jill put that bill in, him and his sons, they were able. He was a state senator in Broadway. He retired from the Senate. He didn't get no charges, and he was on that same board that Catherine Pugh was on.
Diane, one of the points you brought up, for the first time, family, in 50 years, Baltimore City has now dropped below Anne Arundel County. We are now 5th in having the largest number of registered voters. That's because our election board and the Central Committee has done literally nothing to keep our registration numbers up. We are now below Anne Arundel County in people that are registered to vote, because we don't see any voter registration. Where have you seen signs telling you what days you're going to be able to vote? That's going to be on Tuesday, and the 2 dates that are coming up in April.
How about public service announcements?
Right, that's another thing, Jason. You're right, but go ahead, Doc.
It's called voter suppression. You don't put out information about it. You don't put in the early voting site in certain neighborhoods. It's not an accident, family. This is what's called voter suppression, and we're looking in front of it. And we got people serving on boards, and they're not looking after their own community, their own constituents.
Hey, Doc, let me say this. We had one in Pleasant View, right? The early voting.
Yes, ma'am.
When it first came out, they took out from Pleasant View. Do you know what they told us? Because you know me, I'm gonna ask a question. Well, there wasn't enough people coming over there to vote. So you know what I did? Because they put it out the Anchor Library. I started going to Cherry Hill. For early voting, I go to Cherry Hill to make sure that stays out there at that in the southern part of Baltimore City, because they will pull theirs too. But I'll catch the bus or the light rail and go out Cherry Hill to one of those schools and vote early voting. I'm determined that one of these black communities is going to have early voting site, and I love everybody, but I'm looking out for my people.
Yes,
That's what we got to do. That's what we got to think.
Thank you, Sister Diane. Thank you.
I would like to give out a shout out to Cherry Hill. They just won the chess championship. And they have had no murders there in over a year.
Yeah, easily over a year.
So what is going on there? What caused that big change? Do you know?
Safe Streets and a lot of the community groups out there are active in that community, so that they are doing what other neighborhoods should be doing, getting out and get involved. You know.
You think it's because of the small density? There's not a lot of people there that they can manage it better. Why do you think it's being effective there?
I'd still say it's just they're getting engaged. I know the guys. I know a few of the guys from the Cherry Hill Safe Streets organization, and those guys are out there on a daily basis.
I think, I'm one of their worst critics. I think they do an excellent job in Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
But in contrary, they do an awful job in Sandtown. Sandtown does not stop on Fulton.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they do an excellent job. But it is a much, much smaller area, and Jason, you're 100% correct. The neighbors have gotten active because the people that were shooting and killing were people who live in their exact neighborhood.
Correct.
Right.
And many times they knew them.
Yeah.
They knew these young men.
That's right.
But somebody who may be able to give us some answers in reference to the Democratic Central Committee, and is probably walking into the lion's den right now, is the success scholar, Brother Haki. Good morning.
Yeah, all right, Jason.
Yeah, you're entering the lion's den this morning.
Man, I don't want to hear y'all about to beat some people up, man. But like I'll do Doc. but Doc. I mean, I can't. I mean, I don't know. I mean. I don't sit on that committee. I'm actually the treasurer now. But of course, we all do. We all have the charge of registering people to vote on the central committee. But I want to put out something. Just next we meet the third Wednesday of each month at 1701 North Gay Street. That's the whole Central Committee meet totally. And coming up next, we do a First Friday event, and actually First Wednesday, and this Wednesday on the 5th, it's actually the 40th District night. So, and that's going to be on Curry Street. I'll send you all the flyer again, but that's coming up in 2 days from now. But I definitely been paying attention to you, Doc, about the, what you've been saying about the Mondawmin and the early voting thing. Right. And rest assured that, I'm not going to say who, but certainly the executive board is certainly aware. I mean, I don't know what specifically, but they are aware certainly of your, inquiries. I'll say that, and your but I don't know. I don't know what can be done. I haven't.
I'm so honored that you were called. I would love to get information as to where it is on Wednesday, because the hearing for basically it's the 40th district where Mondawmin is primarily located. I would love to come to the 40th district meeting and share with them that on that.
No, so you sure ain't gonna get invited now,
right?
It wouldn't be the first time that I picketed.
Brother Haki, only because of time, I have to move forward. But I would suggest that folks from the Democratic Central Committee get up with Doc. There's no other person that I know of that has helped registered more voters in Baltimore City and can help the Central Committee to be able to put together a great plan and action plan in doing so.
You know what? Right before he goes, Haki, tell me, how do people get appointed to that board? Is it the governor that appoints them?
I mean, first you run. But you run initially, or you can be gender balanced into the Central Committee. But if you're talking about position, and then the governor approved it. So I know that there's been some concerns with that, but
yes,
the chair,
and how much input is taken into consideration from the community? Because the ones I've gone to, the people said that Nick Mosby in particular, people were there from that district and said this guy is not trustworthy.
And Patrick, only because of time, this might be a discussion that we have for next week, and we still have two more callers.
Thank
you.
All right,
Brother Haki, we might have to come with that discussion next week in reference to important. Brother Kevin, really quick, if I can get you in.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm trying to get this as quick as I can because Doc was bringing this up. I don't know the situation. Site, okay? So I don't know if the shop is going to close because Doc was always complaining about a food desert, but these people are on the move. My next point is I hear a rumor that Walgreens built too fast and they might go bankrupt. My third problem is that the project that is going on at Cahill Recreation Center is going to open the door for hundreds of thousands of people to come where they have to come, and a lot of you all didn't look at that bill. The other bill is, here's the most ridiculous bill in the city of history, that somebody put a bill in to let African-American kids play in the street. And I know what that bill is about, okay? So I don't want to hold y'all time up, but, we might be in the food desert. They cutting off everything, and we all need to get there, like Doc was saying, and I sent some bills down to Annapolis, whether they put them in or not.
Right. Hopefully you could come out tonight to Annapolis night in Baltimore. So we got to go, family. It's time to go. You've been listening to the Patrick Henderson's Meet the People radio show right here on WOLB 1010 AM. Tune in next week at 11:30 to 1 p.m. right here every Monday. Love you, family.
Thank you, guys.
We'll speak to y'all next week.
Too important to give up for real.